Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Demon Slayer. We are on episode 22 of season 1, and in the last episode was a very good one. I really enjoyed it. We got information on Rui's backstory, which I was interested to know. And we also had Shinobu try to take out Nezuko, and Giyu saving her, of course. Basically went on a fucking wild goose chase with Nezuko running away, growing small and everything like that. And yeah, we got some information regarding the girl who was at the final selection, and that she has some sort of connection with Shinobu, which I thought was the case because their characters are very sort of, similar. There was something about them that I remembered that was similar. And I think it's the butterfly that she has in her hair, obviously the symbol that Shinobu is. So yeah, so there was that. And yeah, I'm a bit fucking a bit unsure about Shinobu. I find her funny and I like her in that way, and you know what I mean, but she's done some things there which I'm questioning a bit, but I don't know. They're away to the Butterfly Mansion, they refer to it as right now. And we also saw at the very end of last episode the rest of the Hashira. I believe it's the rest of them anyway, and not just a bunch of a group of them, but they all look cool, and I can't wait to be introduced to them. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. We're just going to get straight into it. So yeah, if you do want to go watch the actual reaction, link is in the description below. There's also the link to the full length as well. If you do want to go watch it in full, then the option is there for you. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So we're going to get in episode 22 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 22. Right, that was a really, really cool episode. I like trials and things like that. There was one in Attack on Titan, and there was also one something that was similar in Bleach as well. I got real Bleach vibes from this episode, and I just felt really, really bleachy. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and as much of the Hashira themselves are mostly against Tanjiro and Nezuko here. They're very heavily against them, a lot of them. Mitsuri, I believe, the one that loves everyone and everything that everyone does, she was not totally for it, but because let's say the master was obviously against it, then I think she would have as well. But I feel she was more. It could just be her personality though, because she loves everyone and everything. She just goes along with everything. So it's an interesting sort of personality trait that she's got going on there. And I think Shinobu definitely. She got some good points in my book for this episode, considering what happened last episode. Last episode, I nailed her a bit, because it's just the way that she was. But I guess it makes sense now, considering what the other Hashira are, and I guess it really sort of. It kind of confirms that Giyu is so different from the others, and I wonder if that is down to Urokodaki's teaching or not. And we found out that Urokodaki was a former Hashira as well, which is really cool. I was wondering if he was. I did ask that question some episodes ago, but yeah, I mean the Hashira themselves, I enjoy their. Because there's a clear distinction between them all. They're all different, and I really enjoy that. The interesting thing that they have done here is by putting them in a situation where they're all basically saying the same thing. They're all on side, but having them all have their different personalities kind of forces them into a sort of a situation where I think it's written that way on purpose. I don't think you're supposed to like these characters outright, even though I kind of do to a lot of them. I mean, the ones that really stick out are the ones that I don't particularly like right now is Iguro who was the snake dude, and then Sanemi, who, of course, is the guy that he has kill on his back and not destroy, which is interesting. It seems to be him. He's the only one that actually has that. It definitely fits his character, but it's an interesting difference between the fact that like that's what he has compared to, like, you know, meaning that he's a bit of a psychopath essentially. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Hashira at all, really. Like the characters that I like are Kyojiro because he's very straightforward, and he's very. How would you describe him? What's like a character that I can like? He's like, I don't know, what's someone recently? He's probably like Mirio from My Hero, like very sort of upfront, yeah, and like I said, just straightforward. So I like his sort of like enthusiasm that he has, even in like the things that you shouldn't really be enthusiastic about. Like he's just so enthusiastic about it while having that fucking just straight up face. But yeah, I like Kyojiro. Tengen's interesting. He was the one that I said last episode that I like the characters design the most. But he has this thing about flamboyancy, which is interesting. I mean, I guess it definitely reigns true then, because I was like, he's the one that I like the character design of most, and yet he's the one that's the most flamboyant. So he has the one that's the costume that's way out there, you know. And also I saw from behind there was a shot where you saw all the Hashira from behind, and his swords. Talking of Bleach, like they look like Bleach swords, like the big fucking. Like the proper massive blade. I was wondering when I saw it last episode. I was talking about when I had the image up that the sword behind his back looks wide and girthy, as opposed to like an old katana being very like slim and sleek, and you know that's cool. That's interesting. But he has them chained up, so I just want to see him use them, you know. But yeah, so Tengen's a definite odd one. He does seem to be more of a. He goes along. He doesn't really lead. So he's a lot like Mitsuri in that regard. That I feel like he kind of just follows suit of whatever Kyojiro says or anything like that. Gyome, I like Gyome as well. He seems like a very kind soul. You know. But again, like I feel like he's another one that kind of goes along and doesn't really make the big decisions if there is, like, you know, if they do have to do that, because the Hashira themselves don't seem to be like a straight up group that like they go off and do their own things. It seems like they're very more lone wolf kind of things, and then they come back and whatnot. I mean, I guess Gyu teamed up with Shinobu, so they do team up from time to time, I suppose. But they seem to be like, you know, they come together all at. They talk about like semi-annual meetings, so they do it twice a year. But yeah, I mean, I like Gyome though. He seems like a very like sort of kind soul, but like I said, he goes along whatever the others go along with. He kind of just seems to kind of hop on board. You know, Mitsuri, yeah, I talked about her. She loves everyone. Like that's just an interesting dynamic. I mean, I like her just for the fact of obviously like she was more on side of Tanjiro and Nezuko in that regard, you know. But I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like how genuine that was, or if it's more just her personality that kind of shot her that way. Moichiro, I like him because he's oblivious, but he's also aware that he's oblivious. Like he's just like, oh, I'll probably forget anyway. So he's a very forgetful person. He doesn't really know what's like. I don't know. I guess that's a thing that's like with him. Like if it's like a legit, like he has like short-term memory or something. I guess not, because he's got to be aware that he's doing, you know, his job and everything like that. So I guess not, but I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't care enough. I really don't know. But yeah, I find him funny. I was talking about last episode about how like he looks like a girl, and then I was like, it's going to be a thing where it comes out and it's like he's a boy, and it's like I'll not have any opinion on it because yeah, of course it's fucking anime. You know, one that looks like a girl turns out to be a boy. One that looks like a boy turns out to be a girl. It's the way things are. So yeah, I wrote down two other Hashira that we haven't seen because obviously in the opening it shows you the Hashira all there, and I was like, oh shit, we haven't seen those two at the back right, and then they ended up turning up anyway. So yeah, yeah. So I guess that the ones that I don't really like right now is Aguro and Senemi, but like I said, I'm getting real Bleach vibes. So in a way, it's like I picture these characters as ultimately they're on our, well, to say they're on our side is a bit odd. It's kind of like the Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter. It's a group that is not really on our side but can be. They're not more like the Phantom Troop in that regard, more than it's just like a situation that they're put in because obviously it's a demon. And so it's not that, like, you know, I don't hate them for being so against what is going on here. What I do hate though, and I don't like the way that he's going about it, is Senemi. Like, it seems like Senemi and Aguro they're a pairing that just they would go to this, like, to these lengths. Obviously Senemi took the box into the shade and whatnot, so Nezuko would get out, and then Aguro fucking you know, what do you do, elbow fucking Tanjiro or whatnot to keep him from going in there. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that what I don't like is the fact that, well, first of all, it's an unfair trial on Nezuko to be like, right, I'll show you what that, you know what I mean, what they're like, and I'll prove it right now. I guess it shows like what lengths he would go to prove otherwise. But this is the thing though, this is completely going to backfire because I'm seeing exactly what's going to happen now. I'm thinking Nezuko, right? I mean, obviously, because if she was to be more demon-esque right now and, you know, start like trying to chomp onto Senemi, you know what I mean, she would die, and that's not going to happen in this show. It's just not going to happen, you know what I mean? So it's going to completely backfire in a moment where it's still an unfair trial, regardless of I completely get what the end goal, like what the end is going to be for this trial, which is Nezuko is going to disregard the blood and everything like that, and not even, you know, not fall for it, which further puts Nezuko in the good graces, because if, you know, we're just going by the master's word and it's like, no, we're going to keep them alive, there would still be that distrust there. Whereas if right now what we're watching, Nezuko completely disregards it, then they can still have that distrust there because she's a demon, but they're more likely to obviously be fine with the whole thing. So it should be good. It should be good. So yeah, the master knew a lot as well, interestingly enough. He knew that Tanjiro had met Kibutsuji, and I don't know how, but he knows things that, I suppose he talks to the crows, right? I guess if the crows are like kind of obviously just like messengers and sort of they could be like spies in that regard for the master, because at the end of the day it looks like he's blind, so it would make sense that he would have people or crows in this regard, like, you know, telling him exactly what's going on, seeing as he's the you know, the guy that gives out all the missions and stuff, and, you know, he's got to, if he's blind, he's got to know what the fuck's going on. So if he has people telling him what's going on, or crows or whatever, it would make sense that that's how he's gotten his information and that's how he knows. But yeah, very interesting. And yeah, with that, we got the information that none of the Hashira have actually met Kibutsuji either. So yeah, he's good at staying in hiding, like, you know, going off into hiding. And that I guess the only reason why Tanjiro, like specifically, was able to find him was because he picked up that scent, and it was the same one that was at his house. So it's kind of that thing of like, well, I don't know, because you've got like Tanjiro, who's really good, like he's got a great sense of smell, and then you've got Zenitsu, who's got really good hearing. You know, Inosuke is able to pick up his own, like he's able to pick up, you know, and sense his own way, I should say. But none of the Hashira do. I guess I guess it matters of like being in range as well. Like obviously it was luck that Tanjiro just happened to be in the city where that was, you know, that was all going down. But here's the thing: why did Tanjiro go there again? Do I remember? Why was he in the city for? I'm gonna go back. I'm not actually gonna look. I'm just gonna see the episodes. Oh, because that was when they fought the Tamari demon and the Arrow demon, right? But the crow give Tanjiro like, this is where you need to go, right? I wonder if the master knows. Like the master like knows something, or that'd be mad if the master was a demon. But we don't know though. I was saying during the reaction that I had a theory like back some episodes now where I just said it would be interesting if like that guy, the master, was a demon and like he became a like, you know, he's actually a case where he became a human again, but it's ended up making him like disfigured in that way. But you know, I don't know if that's the case. It would be interesting, like, you know, if he is a demon, just because, you know, the demons are kind of, I suppose you can really tell, but it's the eyes really that give it away, isn't it? And because obviously he's blind and whatnot, that top half of his face is obviously affecting us to be able to tell whether or not he is a human or a demon. I don't know, but he knows something. The master knows more than he's letting on, I think. And obviously he's the one that gives the mission to the crows, and then the crows go and tell the Demon Slayer Corps. He's the one that told Tanjiro to go to the city. And it wasn't like normally, like before that and after that, it was a mission to go, because there's been reports of demons in the area and whatnot, of like there's a specific demon you need to go kill at this end. But when Tanjiro made it to the city, he found Muzan there, and then he fought off against Tamari and the Arrow demon, right? So there wasn't another demon there. I mean, the Tamari and Arrow demon, they were sent by Muzan. So I'm thinking that he was sent there as a like the master knew that Muzan was there and that Tanjiro would pick it up. Now, talking about last episode in the pre-discussion, when I was talking about how I was talking about how the father, how Tanjiro's father promised to pass down the Kagura and the earrings. I wonder if the promise he made was to the master. Because the master was pointing out there as well during the trial. He was talking about how, you know, like he was talking about how there's something that he thinks is like happening right now in regards to Tanjiro and Nezuko, and the reason why Nezuko is able to sort of combat the demon within her, and that may like play a role in this whole thing. That I think he knows that is the case, and that Tanjiro and Nezuko, like, they are the ones to fight against Muzan, defeat him, because they have something that is able to defeat him. And if that is passed down from the master to Tanjiro's father, I think that would make sense as a whole. I think the theory is pretty solid. So that's what I'm going with right now until if more information comes up that might sway sway me in different directions, tell me different things. I don't know, but I think that sounds pretty solid right now. That I feel like the Master was possibly the one that Tanjiro's father promised that he would pass down the Kagura and the earrings, because it just seems like very coincidental that the Master knows all of this stuff, you know? Because as far as I remember, Tanjiro hasn't told anyone that he met Muzan, right? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. The only ones he has is, well, obviously, the, what's her name? Tamaki, is it? You know what I'm talking about. The one who's trying to make the cure and everything. With the blood. Tamayo, that's it. Tamayo and Yushiro. You know, and they're not associated with with this in any way, as far as I know. I don't know if the Master is maybe has connections with them. Because that would be interesting, you know. Like, that's the thing, is like, when I say the Master, I feel like knows more than he's letting on. I feel like he is like, he has these. He can have like these conversations or whatever, like with. I think he has he could have connections with Tamayo, but he's not going to give that away to the Hashira because Tamayo is a demon. So, you know, but if that's how he knew that that's where Muzan was, it would make sense. You know, because Tamayo would possibly know that. Though it seemed like back at that point in the story with Tamayo and whatnot, they decided to leave because Muzan was getting too close, you know. But so I don't know. It's all interesting though. I'm just really intrigued with the Master right now. But yeah, and the first to speak to the Master gets to greet him as well. So that was the whole thing with Mitsuri. Obviously, they said that in the Taisho secret that's what the case is, and yeah, that explains why Mitsuri was so. Because I was just thinking, well, why don't you just greet him? Just do it. You know what I mean? But apparently, I don't know. I guess that's some unspoken rule or something. I don't know. But yeah, so we got the Urokodaki, obviously, with the letter. I was hoping it was going to change like some opinions there in the Hashira, but it didn't. They remained firm in their belief that they should be completely against everything that's going on. But I was just like hoping that Urokodaki, with being a former Hashira, like maybe he was one that was like, he was revered, and he's like, you know, it's like, oh well, if he's saying it, then, you know. But he basically straight up said it, that if Nezuko was to ever kill a human, that Tanjiro, Urokodaki, and Giyu would all commit seppuku. And we had Tanjiro there, like, shedding tears, because obviously it's like, well, Urokodaki and Giyu have, like, they've clearly talked about this, that if that was to happen, then they would take that sin, like, upon themselves and punish themselves for it, which is very honourable and admirable. And obviously, you know, Tanjiro saw that. Just goes to show how fucking cool they are, man. And yeah, I feel like Giyu, I think he must have gotten that off Urokodaki, like that sort of, that way of thinking, you know, because Giyu's way of thinking does shine through. Like, he still has that little bit of, like, what the other Hashira have, where it's, like, demons are fucking, they're still, like, monsters and stuff. Because he had that thing last episode with, like, standing on Rui's robe and everything. So there's still that there. But there's also the other side where he is compassionate. And he knows that. Like, we'll go back to the very first episode. Like, he knew straight off the bat, had that been any other Hashira, they would have just killed Nezuko right there in episode 1. But he knew, and he knew exactly what to do as well, straight off the bat, like send them to Urokodaki. So yeah, it definitely is interesting. But I don't know if that like is something that Urokodaki and Giyu just like bonded over when he was a Hashira, or if indeed, like I said, that if Urokodaki was actually Giyu's master, then I don't know. But it's interesting, like they must have had conversations before they even met Nezuko about like demons, and if it's possible for a demon to be, you know, like a good demon or something like that, or if there was a case before that Urokodaki had seen where it was plausible that there could be a good demon, and therefore that, like, you know, Giyu was fine sending Nezuko and Tanjiro that way. It's why it makes me think that the master may have some connection with Tamiyo, because it's like, it seems as though with the Urokodaki now being a former Hashira, obviously retired, right? That, and he keeps in touch. I mean, he sent a letter anyway to the master. But if they were to like sort of keep in touch, I can almost imagine them like being aware of something that the other Hashira aren't. And if that is the case, then Urokodaki may have maybe met Tamiyo in the past, and like that's what allowed this whole thing to happen. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, a lot of it is like obviously speculation on my part, but I'm just trying to like figure out like where the lines and everything are. I'll be like that fucking GIF from like what's that show where the guy's like mental and he's like, it's like he's been awake for like 48 hours or something. He's got like all these fucking like red lines like to different things, like it's a conspiracy kind of shit. So what I'm just trying to like pin the dots to get everything right. But I think I've done well there. I'm happy with my theory. You know, and a lot of them do like sort of like connect and everything in certain ways. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the Hashira I think are cool. You know, like I said, like I feel like it's interesting that because they're so different and they all have their unique personalities, that they were, I feel like, almost purposefully put into this situation where the first time you meet them, they're all almost in one category of like, we're against this. It makes me think that like, I think that there's reasons why they're so fucking against it. I don't know if it's just simple as like, I don't know if it's just as simple as like, oh, it's a demon, that's it. You know, I feel like there's more there. If they all have their own, like, you know, they all have their own experiences, and I'm sure they've had like really bad ones that have just completely put them off the idea, you know, of demons and everything. So the idea of one being left alive just doesn't ring true to them, you know. And you know me, I'm not one for just straight up shitting all over a character and like not trying to see possible reasons for fucking, you know, doing their thing. You know, and at the end of the day, not in this season, I'd imagine, because there's not very many left. There's like three episodes, but you know, obviously in the story to come, I'd imagine like we're going to get to know them like more and their reasons for, you know, doing what they do and why they're so adamant and all of that. And you know, they'll all come round. I mean, talking about Senemi, like one of the ones that I don't really like right now. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Like, he's put up front as that sort of just real fucking like menace, like so in your face. The guy to that's put in there to be hated, almost in a way. And I for a split second I had some respect for him when he pushed Tanjiro's head down, and I was like, "Fucking hell, chill out, man." He wasn't even like looking at you at that point, and you were getting payback from him. And then I realized what he was doing was he was just like, fucking, you know, bow your head. So there's like, it put into perspective and kind of confirmed the idea that like he still has like sort of, morals isn't the right fucking word. He has the sort of correct idea, and he knows respect even in that kind of tropey character that, you know, you can kind of sense from him, that he's not completely for himself, everything for himself kind of thing, you know? Like, even, like, going so far as to say, like, all those, like, all of our fellow demon slayers in the past that have been slain and everything like that, like, you know, it's those kind of things that I was like, right, well, there's something there that I can actually like about you, you know? But it kind of just gives me hope that there will be moments that will make these characters shine and make you like them. You know what I mean? I'm not wanting to like just straight up trying to fucking despise a character from the very offset, because I've had this before with Hans in Attack on Titan. Like, because obviously in the very first episode, he runs away, like, obviously like a coward and everything, and I shat all over him in that episode, because the main reason was because I hated the fact that he gave the mother and Eren and everything, like, hope by saying he's going to take care of it, and then he didn't. So I shat on him for that, but people were like, no, you fucking, you know what I mean? And then I got so many, like, comments basically saying, like, oh, don't you understand? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just, like, he's trying to, like, face off against, like, this massive titan that he's never seen before. Like, you should understand him and everything like that, and empathize and shit. And it got to the point where it kind of ruined my whole reaction to anything revolving that character, almost, because it was like, all of a sudden, the despise and everything like that, like, it was a despise of the action of that character. And it ended up turning into a thing where I was just like, oh god, like, I don't even want to see the character in the show, because every time I see him, it just reminds me of people, like, crying and whinging out because I said something bad about a character that possibly redeemed themselves later on, even though I didn't know, and I was going in blind. You know what I mean? It's like, the whole point is to react to a character and everything like that. So now I don't ultimately go out and try and berate a character outright and try and get into a fucking, like, a mindset where I'm just like, right, this is the situation that they're put in, and try and figure out, like, where they stand on a situation because of the experiences that they've gone through and everything, and therefore where will they be in, you know, in the story to come, and how will they sort of what's the word? Sort of reveal themselves to be, like, a better character than what they appeared outright and whatnot. But, you know, that's just what it is. So yeah, like, my reactions have gone down so, like, not that much, I suppose, because I still get hype and everything like that. But if you go back to, like, the first things I reacted to, I feel like I was more reactive than I am now. Like, I feel like I'm more toned down than what I used to be. But it's because of things like that, where it's just like, you know, like, it's a weird, it's such a weird thing that you don't, like, honestly, you'll not really truly understand unless you react to something and have people, like, comment on your stuff. Because the idea is like, it's hard to try and get people to understand that you're reacting to something. It's like, that doesn't click in some people's minds, that, like, it's a first reaction to something. Like, it would be like, it's like you putting your first reaction to something out there that you are completely oblivious to what the fuck's going on, and then something initially happens. Like, what's your first reaction to something that you don't control? It's just that from the inside, like, that's what you put out there. It's not like I have time to, like, you know, like, something immediately happens. I don't sit there for 5 seconds and think, right, how am I going to react to this? Oh, what the fuck, that just happened? What the fuck is that shit? That's God, like, you know what I mean? I don't have time to think about something when you react. You just react, and that's it. But then people will, like, you know, some people, like, if for some reason that doesn't click in their head, it's like, no, you should think how I think. Like, you should react how I reacted. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is, like, I get the idea. Like, I get that you want people to experience the show that you love the like, and you want them to react the same way as you do. But that's the thing, is like, people need to, like, I guess that's just something that has always been like a sort of a crux for humanity, I suppose, like ever since we've been around, is that we like, for as long as humans have been around, we still struggle with some people's opinions on things. Like, we don't like when someone doesn't like the stuff that we like, and we kind of have to try and hold ourselves back and not fucking jump on it, you know. And it's a tough thing, you know. But I mean, I struggle with it, so it's one of those things that just, like, it's a weird thing. But yeah, I went off on a rant because I think, like, the Hashira, I can see people, like, I could see people just kind of just being like, I hate, who are these? You know what I mean? Who are these guys? I don't like them, just because, like, because obviously they're going against our protagonist and everything. You know what I mean? So it's easy to just see them as villains, and then it's just, oh, fuck off. You know what I mean? Because they're going against our fucking protagonist, our hero, and you know, against the characters that we like. So of course it's easy to see it that way, but it's like, if you want to see it from the opposite end, like if it was a show revolving around one of the Hashira, if you want to see it like from their point of view, you would be sitting here at this trial basically saying, like, yeah, I don't fucking trust demons and everything like that. It's the way it would be. So you have to allow them, you need to allow the Hashira to have time to understand that and all of that. But that's not taken away from the fact that, you know, people can have their reaction to something. I mean, because otherwise I'd be a hypocrite on what I just said. Like, your first reaction to something would just be like straight out there and say that you hate them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, as long as you don't turn that into a thing of, like, you hate them so much that it actually becomes a kind of hatred where you have to keep telling yourself that you hate them. So even if they end up doing something good later on, you're just like, yeah, well, I fucking hate you anyway. Like, you need to allow yourself to, like, you know, characters can be hated and then end up being loved. You know what I mean? There's plenty of characters like that. You know which one I'm talking about, if you know me. You know, I'm not even going to mention it because I'm sure everyone knows. But the idea is that, like, there are characters that, the idea of a character development, that whole thing, is that you can allow yourself to hate a character at one point and then end up loving them because you've seen them progress and you've seen the reasons why. So, you know, but anyway, I've been ranting on. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the discussion, because I enjoyed talking about these. I was in the zone today, I think. You know, sometimes I have these zones where I'm just like, I struggle to get things, like, you know, get my thoughts out properly, and I feel like my mind isn't quite there, not working at 100%. And then I have other times where I just, like, I have a discussion and I feel good about it, and I feel good about these discussions today. So yeah, hopefully you liked it. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to go watch episode 23 and 24 of Demon Slayer right now, you can do over on my Patreon. If you become an early access tier patron for $5 a month. There's also a full length tier there for $10 if you do want to watch any of these shows in full and not just the 10-minute version. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.